Hi, and welcome to the AdaKay Show. I am AdaKay Brown, and am currently a criminal justice major, and I'm a deaf courtroom commentator. Grab a cup of Java, and let's dive in. Good morning, everybody. Hope this finds all my courtroom junkies well. How are y'all doing? Good morning. We have first in chat, June. Then we have Erin, Karate Cat Mom, One Sunny Day. Thank you guys all so much for joining. I'm actually quite excited. This has been something in the making. And yeah, we're happy. I got a special guest. So y'all please share this live and let's get some people in here. Don't forget, we do have the I liked going, I subbed, and the I shared end of the month giveaway running. Okay, guys, are y'all ready? Are you ready to bring in our special guest? I am. Let's get her in. Oh, why isn't it playing? My soundboard didn't work. Really? There we go. Welcome, everybody, to the show, Miss Megan Connor. Yay. Welcome, hun. Welcome. We're glad to have you.
Thanks for having me.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well, thank you. It's a beautiful day here in South Texas, and I've got
You're
lots
in
of...
South Texas?
I am, yes.
I'm in Kerrville.
Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna have to meet up then. It's official.
Our Texas gals are in the house. Miss Ronnie, who's not here yet, is a Texas gal. So, well, let me introduce you. And I'm going to take a little clip from her bio here. Megan is a pretty freaking phenomenal woman. Not only is she a mother of 6, hail the queen. See those crowns? You need 3 more. There's 3 back there. She says spectacular human beings. She is, how do I put it? She's a breaker of generational trauma. 6, I won't say 6. I said 6 kids. She's sex trafficking as a child. We share that in common. Survived 40 years of another kind of abuse. Holla. Isn't it sad how many people actually have that kind of abuse in their background? It's amazing in a bad way.
Right.
Then she has written books. And the one thing that y'all may be connected to is she's Lori Daybell's cousin. God bless your heart, poor thing. Like you needed anything else to make you more infamous. Hello, we have Eliza, we have Danny Hill, all of you guys. Welcome. One Sunny Days in Temple. We need to do a Texas roundup.
Yeah, I think
all
so.
Get together.
Yeah, I think so. That would be so fun.
Well, let me do something real quick and then we'll get into talking because I need to make an announcement for those of you who don't know. If y'all look above, I'll put it up. If you like my life on my channel, and then you put I liked just like that. And then if you subbed to my channel, we're trying to get to 3,000. I'm stuck at like 2,930. It's a movement.
Well, I'm going to ask all of my people who are joining from my channel, because I promoted this on my channel and I see some of my people coming in. So if you will please subscribe to AdaKay and let's get her up over 3,000 today.
Oh, yay. Well, here's the deal. If you sub, like you see, I like, here, I'll do it. Is that you, Diane? I'm going to mute you, Diane, because there's a little ding coming through. If you comment, I sub, just like I just did, it will get you into the end of the month drawing. We do a $50 merch or gift card giveaway. If you put I sub, if you put I liked or I shared, and you have to do the sharing. Any one of those 3 will get you into the drawing for the end of the month giveaway, and you don't have to be a longtime viewer. But anyway, we like to bless people, and here is my first merch. I'm a hoe, in my humble opinion.
I like
then
it.
we got the hat. So I'm excited. We're growing. So tell me quickly what you want to share about you.
Well, I have to say the thing that I love the most about my life is being a mom. My kiddos are wonderful. They are spectacular people. I have great relationships with all 6 of them. They're all completely different from each other. And it's just been a privilege to learn how to love all kinds of different human beings that way. So that's what I love the most about my life. Um, People have said to me before, like, "Oh, you have 6 kids, you must be an expert." And I'm like, "Nope, I'm still learning how to be a good mom after 30 years of being a mom." And I'm a grandma to 2 little
Oh,
princes, and so that's been a fun thing recently. One of them's 5, and the other one was born at the end of April.
and may I ask how old you are, my dear?
I'm 50.
Oh, I got you beat. I'm 54. Well, you
There
don't
you
even
go.
look 30. I at least look it.
I don't think so. I think you look 30.
No. Okay. Now that the pleasantries are over with.
Now on to more unpleasant topics.
Oh my gosh. Good morning, everybody. All of you guys who are coming in. Thank you so much. You guys who are on her channel, you have to hop onto my channel to do the sub and comment I sub. If you do it through the link, it's not going to catch you. And I really want to catch you. I'm sorry. Like, sub, whatever. You never heard of the trafficking story? I would have been back. Oh. Oh, wow. What do your grandchildren call you?
They call me Mimi.
Mimi?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I wanna be called huh?
when I was little, my 2 younger siblings couldn't say my name properly, and so instead of calling me Megan, they called me Mimi, and so I decided that would be my grandma name.
I figured the first grandchild would name me.
That's probably a good policy, honestly, because my daughter started calling my mom, um, what did she call her? Mima. And my mom did not like that, and so she made her other grandchildren call her Grammy, and so it was, like, weird for a while because my kids would call her Mima and the other kids would call her Grammy, and eventually we just had to give up and call her Grammy. So I was like, "Okay, you rejected your grandma name, that's fine."
Well, I my ex-husband's mom is called Grammy or Gammy, and I'm like, "No, no, not gonna do that."
Yeah.
So, just for everyone to get it out of the way, can you go ahead and quickly share? Because I don't want to focus this whole live on Lori Daybell. That woman doesn't deserve any more attention. We give her attention enough as it is, but share your connection so my viewers know the the tea.
Yeah. So, my dad is Janice's brother, younger brother. Janice is Lori's mom. So Lori and I are first cousins. We grew up together. We spent summertime together, couple weeks every summer together, from the time I was 6 or so until, I was, like, 13. And then, there were a couple of summer trips where my brother and I went out to visit our cousins, when there were no parents around, and that was a couple of interesting times. But then I actually lived with Lori in Austin for about 3 or 4 months. She and Adam
Sorry.
were both living in Austin, and Adam was a primetime DJ at the big top 40 station there in Austin. So I lived with them for a short time before moving to San Antonio, and that's where I've been ever since. But Janice and Barry, Lori's parents, lived here in San Antonio for about 10 years. And so I spent a lot of
I
time
lived
around
what
them.
years were that? I lived
90
here.
End of 95, beginning of 96 or so until 2005.
Okay, I moved out in 209, but I moved there in
Okay.
81.
Okay. Yeah, so you lived there at the same time. The Coxes lived in San Antonio. Alex lived there. Um, their daughter
Dang.
Stacy lived with them for a short time before she passed away under suspicious circumstances, which is a story for another time if you haven't heard it. But yeah, so I spent a lot of time around the Cox family. Colby, who's Lori's only living child, was pretty close with my oldest daughter. He's just a little younger than my oldest daughter. And Lori used to leave Colby with Janice and Barry on the weekends when she was working. And Barry asked me if my daughter could hang out with them because he felt like Colby was too much of a handful on his own. So anyway, that's the connection. She was a bridesmaid at my wedding. You know, we were young moms together for our first kids. And yeah, so that's it.
I am going to post my direct link because I'm not my numbers. People are subbing, saying they're subbing, but the numbers haven't moved. That's weird. Okay, but
Yeah,
I'm gonna
sometimes it
pin it.
takes a little while for it to catch up.
Well, I have only been doing this right at a year. I'm still learning.
Yeah, I'm still
How
learning
long
too.
have you been doing this?
I started my podcast in April of last year. So I
Okay,
did
about
a
the same time.
I did a few videos before that, but yeah, my podcast was official in April. So yeah, a little over a year.
Yeah, yeah. I started as a just so your viewers get to know me a little bit. I started doing this because I want to do something called Jail Widow. I lost my husband to prison. He
Mm,
was he was a physician. He was doing something he shouldn't have been, and I won't share what it is. But that's his story.
yeah.
But I lost everything. The house, all my possessions. I walked out
Mm,
with nothing, all but homeless if it wasn't for a church family. But there's not any help out there for the person who's married to the one who's being charged with a crime to walk through. But more
mm,
importantly, what do you do when they're sent to prison? I mean, you do
right.
everything you have to do as if they died, but you don't have a death certificate. It's horrible. And
Yeah.
the abuse I suffered in the community, it was a nightmare. And so I went live with the Hannah Gutierrez Reed trial the day she was convicted just to learn how to run the equipment. And I thought, you know what? I watch Emily D. Baker all the time. Why don't I just go live? I'll put on the trial. Nobody will watch. I can make mistakes. I can screw up the equipment. I can use this as a learning curve. Mhm. Look where we are now.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, I'm sorry for your for your story, but I'm grateful that you're out here doing this, and I think you're you're talking to a community that's underserved, and I think that's really important. I told my people when I was covering Lori's trial, I went into jury selection for the Charles Vallow trial, and I was really shocked when the judge asked the jury panel, "How many of you have family members or a very close family friend who have served time in prison for whatever offense?" And it was literally about 40% of the people who stood up. And
Mm.
it made me feel so much less alone because I thought, okay, I'm not the only one who's related to criminals. And, you know, it's part of the family story. So I'm glad that you're doing this because I can imagine there are so many people out there who will benefit from your help.
Well, unfortunately, I've kind of dropped it. Not dropped it, but I've been so involved with this. And then I decided to go to college again. I have a degree in deaf support specialist with a focus of interpreting. But
Wow,
in order
that's
to get
awesome.
my national interpreter's license like Miss Fabulous Diane, yay, hello, it's Brit, 11 months, congratulations. I have to have a bachelor's. So I'm getting a bachelor's in criminal justice. Thought about being a lawyer, but that pigeonholes me. And
Yeah.
so I think what I'll do is get a master's degree and go to a PhD for criminal justice is what my goal is.
Wow, that's awesome. Good for you.
I don't know. We'll see. I work with a lot of deaf people that I want to work with disabled people in the criminal system because they are definitely the ones who are, you think it's bad being enabled? able-bodied person going through this, or yeah, no, be disabled and go through it, it's even worse.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
anyway, so we have 2 cases to talk about today. Let's talk about yours first. We did not watch it. We were so involved with the Karen Reed, and by the way, we are not talking Karen Reed today. But I do wanna ask you one KR question. What are your thoughts on the verdict?
Well, I actually don't know enough about the case at all. And I was just saying this on my channel yesterday. I know it's been incredibly polarizing. Like there are people who feel very strongly on both sides, guilty and not guilty. And so I'm really curious to learn about the controversy. I've heard that there's some evidence issues, some expert testimony issue, and people have really strong feelings either way. So I will just tell you this. I don't know everything, and I definitely am not perfect in my assessments of people. But just watching the few things that I have of Karen Reed and seeing her little victory speech outside the courthouse really gave me bad vibes, to be honest with you. I don't know if she's guilty or if she's just a bad person.
I
But
think well, I'm gonna pause you there.
go ahead. Yeah.
She, behind the scenes, has really been fighting for the truth to come out about John O'Keefe. So she really has been one of the bigger supporters of finding out the truth. At the
Okay.
same time, fighting for her own survival.
Yeah.
Number 2, I always tell people, don't judge anybody by what they say within 2 or 3 days after finding out guilt or innocence,
Right. Right.
because you really are just you're out of your body.
Oh,
It
I'm sure.
I
Yeah.
was the wife of somebody, and, I I I I said some crazy stuff the first for a week or so. So
Yeah.
don't judge her on that,
Yeah,
but
my mind is completely open, because
yeah,
again, like I said, I don't know anything about the case, and I don't like to judge people just by 1 or 2 sound bites that I hear, because I know that stuff gets spun, it gets out of context, all that stuff. So anyway, I'm looking forward to digging into it, because coming from the background that I do, not knowing anything about it,
mhm.
it's like, looking at everything fresh for the first time.
She was the first case big case. I did the Eric Baldwin. I did Alec Baldwin. I did a couple of people, but she was the first big case that I did, and I went to it blind. And at the time, I was alternate juror because I didn't find anybody with that name on YouTube, but guess what? There is. So I changed. But I went into it knowing absolutely nothing other than she's accused of backing up and hitting her boyfriend cop and killing him in a yard, drinking and driving. That's all I knew. And
Mhm.
at the end of the trial, I'm like, uh-uh, how? So I
Yeah.
hope you dig into it. But you were following another trial. Do you want to tell us about that one?
Yeah, well, I was not really following it, because I was so immersed in covering Lori's trial. Um, but I was looking for, okay, what's the next thing that I am going to look at? And so I was looking at these other cases of women who just were manipulators, just like I believe Lori is. And I came across the case of Megan Jackson. Um, she was just found guilty on the same day as Karen Reed, I think. Um, it was she had an affair with the deputy coroner. She was a body transporter. And so it was a little bit
Fun.
sensational because of that. But it's basically, she was having an affair with this guy, Christopher Dontel, who was the deputy coroner. And um, she was uh, accused of murdering. Um, sorry, my brain just totally slipped into a different world for a second.
Been there, done that. So
Clearly,
she's accused so this woman who totes unalive people back and forth, transport,
Mhm.
mortician, transport, um, unalive too?
So Gregory Rice, who was her ex-boyfriend, she has 4 children with this guy. And she had an affair with the deputy coroner, Christopher Dontel. And apparently she killed Rice, her ex-boyfriend, and then convinced Christopher to help dispose of the body. And so he pled guilty to his charges and agreed to testify against her. And she was eventually convicted. So to sort of clear it up, I wrote just a little brief synopsis. Do you mind if I read?
Welcome.
Okay. Okay, so
Yes.
Megan Jackson and Chris Dontel met through their work. They were both involved in transporting bodies. Their professional relationship evolved into a personal relationship. Their affair started around late 2019, shortly after Megan Jackson.
Whoa. I need you to slow down.
Okay.
We do have a couple of, by the way, welcome to all the deaf people who actually joined us today. Thank you so much. We have an interpreter. And if you're not used to having an interpreter, you forget they're there and you start talking real fast.
Yeah, so sorry. I do
sorry.
get fast when I read, so thank you for reminding me to slow down. Okay, so their affair began
again. Start again.
Okay. So Megan Jackson, who I'll just call her Jackson, I guess.
Yeah.
And Chris Dontel both worked as body transporters. And they worked together, and then their relationship evolved into an affair, which began in late 2019. So they both lived in the same neighborhood in South Carolina, and she with her 4 children, and then Chris Dontel, who was married and had children also. And their children spent time together. And Megan Jackson eventually befriended the wife of the man she was having an affair with. And so her ex-boyfriend, who she has her 4 children with, was threatening to expose the affair. And they showed text messages at trial that showed that the ex-boyfriend, Rice, discovered the relationship and he was furious and he threatened to tell the wife. And so then Megan Jackson apparently started sending anonymous messages to the wife, framing her ex-boyfriend as the source of the information, basically to manipulate the whole situation and make it seem like she was innocent in this whole thing.
Wow.
So there were allegations that Megan was also pregnant with Chris Dontel's child. And then she subsequently had a miscarriage. And that was cited as a factor in what she did, all of the emotional, hormonal fallout from that. And then basically they were claiming that Megan Jackson leveraged the miscarriage to pressure Chris Dontel into disposing of Gregory Rice's body. So he was shot and died on October 2nd of 2020.
Wow. So you feel she was really guilty in all of that and justice was served?
I really do. Yeah. Looking at the text messages and phone calls that went back and forth, as well as the day of the event, she and the married guy went out together to a restaurant, and then they went to a shooting range. And then her cell phone records showed her at the funeral home. And then she called, the ex-boyfriend, and then they met, in his neighborhood. And basically that was where the shooting occurred.
So how did they get rid of the body? Was it cremation?
Well, well, I think that was their eventual plan. But so her boyfriend was the married man who she was having an affair with was with her during the shooting. He claimed that he was
Keep
just
talking.
shocked, and that, Megan yelled at him to help load his body into the van. They transported the body to the funeral home and they stored it in a cooler. And then
I'm gonna help Diana a little bit because it's hard to do all this yourself. So I'll sign for myself.
Okay.
But it's hard with the color. See, now you can see me clearly.
Yeah. So the next day, the man who was the married man, Chris Dontel, purchased a tarp, zip ties, ratchet straps, and cinder blocks from Lowe's. And they have him on surveillance doing that. And then he drove to a place where he could dump it basically in the river.
But okay. Question. You have a funeral home. You can burn the body and it's gone. Why would you take the body and throw it in a river?
I think that because they were just transporters, they didn't have access to the crematorium. That would have had to be, they would have had to involve someone else in order to do that. So, Colleen Knight says she thinks that Megan Jackson had an abortion because they were talking about it. Yikes. So I don't think it's
possible.
It's definitely possible. Yeah, especially if she just wanted to use that as leverage.
We see a lot of random interpreters over video for appointments. Some I can follow, others not so well. Are you deaf, MB, or do you know sign? How? That's interesting to me. For those who do not know, I grew up hearing and became deaf over the last 15, 20 years due to illness and medication. So without my hearing aids, I am fully 100% deaf now. I work very, 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 very hard at keeping my speech. And that's one good thing about what I do is I talk a lot. But when my hearing aids are off, I sound like a deaf person. And it's hard to sign talk at the same time. Oh,
MB
well,
she's a good friend of my channel.
Well, I hope she can be good friends with both of our YouTubes. That would be great.
I'm sure.
Oh, well, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Oh, wow. Oh, well, thank you. Well, thank you. Yes, we don't always have the interpreter because she works for me for my college degree and other colleges and a lot of different things. So she's not always with us, but if I know a deaf person is watching, they throw up the ILY, I will just join in like I just did and just interpret. Diane, let me go ahead and interpret for me for a minute. It's hard to talk and run everything. By the way, let's see if you can see. This is my setup. Hey guys.
Wow, fancy.
I'm getting ready to get my 5th monitor.
I guess I need at least one more. Now I feel monitor deficient.
Well, I'm also dyslexic, like EDV. And so, and what I've learned is you push a little button over here and it switches your screen. You can have multiple setups going at the same time. So my question, so everybody in this trial has been dealt with. They've all been found guilty. What is her possible sentencing?
She has been sentenced to life without parole.
Life without. Okay. Wow. That is insane. What is it with people unaliving people, especially the women lately? It's been Melody
Yeah.
Bear, Sarah Boone. I mean, we've just been Lori Daybell. Sorry, had to say it. 4 people, possibly 5.
Yeah. It's I don't know if it's becoming more common or if we just know about it more because of YouTube and media and all of that, but it's troubling.
Wow. So, as per, I have one question. As per your family, how are y'all doing with all this? I mean, how was her family? How was her I just can't imagine. I've been the family of someone, but they didn't unalive 4 people. Big difference.
Right. You know, it's been really difficult. Our family will never be the same. And some of that is actually good because there has been a lot of exposure of unhealthy patterns and unhealthy people. And I personally would rather know all of the real stories so that I can have healthy people around me and not communicate with the unhealthy ones, you know. But it is sad because my childhood vision of having all of the aunts, uncles, and cousins gathered together is something that will never happen again.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm pinning your channel
Thank
up at the
you.
top of mine. There we go. Go over her. We're up to
I know that one.
2,940.
I've always wanted to learn ASL, and I actually took some lessons my last year of high school. I traded, this woman wanted her daughter to take piano lessons, and so I gave her daughter piano lessons, and she gave me ASL lessons. But I only did it for about 6 months, and I don't remember very much, but it's something I've always wanted to do.
Well, I think Diana and I've talked about starting virtual ASL classes
That would be awesome.
together, having both of us teach together. So we're looking into that maybe for the beginning of next year, right, Diane? Yes? Okay. Yeah, we're gonna start. Um, Also, we're gonna start doing interpreting kids' books in ASL. Another YouTuber has, a book channel where she reads kids' books, and we're going to start interpreting hers this fall, I believe. I was gonna do it sooner, but we've had too many other cases going to college. I graduate in December, and then I'll have more time.
Wow,
So
congratulations.
thank you. Yeah, I'm kinda shocked. I did a full degree. I should have taken 2.5 years, and I've taken a year and a half. So I'm like, 18
Wow.
hours every semester. I'm
Oh,
sweating it, man.
yeah. That's what I did for my master's as well. It was really tough.
How long did it take for you to get your master's?
It took me the 2 full years because I had to do, a certain number of hours of performing and be in performance productions that had their own schedule and everything. So my
Oh,
master's degree is in vocal performance. I used to be an opera singer.
you too? I didn't go to college, but I did opera. Then I
Oh,
went to
wow.
barbershop. Then I was a barbershopper,
Oh, wow.
a
Awesome.
cappella singer. Now I want to be an interpreter for music. Diane and I have done a lot of that, but we have another thing in common. I'd like to hear you
Yes.
sing someday. I
Yeah,
can't because I
sure.
can't hear myself anymore.
Yeah. One of the
I'd
first
have
schools that I worked at, I had a family, with a deaf, child, and so we had, an interpreter at our choir concerts.
Yeah, but did they interpret the old way? Music, the song
No,
from the
no,
song from
they were
love.
an amazing interpreter. It was actually beautiful to
Awesome,
watch. Yeah.
awesome, awesome. So, you wanna hear about this crazy case that we're following?
Yes, please.
We have a batshite crazy case. Bat crazy, and when I say bat crazy, I mean bat crazy. Or should I say monkey crazy? The woman's name is Brenda Ruth Boudreau, Beutch. I don't know why they say it the other way. I could be
Hmm.
saying it wrong. D Not Boudreaux. Oh my God. That's crazy. Deutsch. That's it. I got to look at it. Let me pull it up. Brenda Ruth Deutsch. I don't know why I said Boudreaux.
Well, Lori's just
She
last case was a Boudreaux case.
yeah. She is charged on 1 count of abuse or neglect of a child. 3 counts of it. And this is what she did. Out of the state of Missouri, she was a foster mom. She fostered over 200 children. She has
scary.
1 biological child who I am in contact with and have had on my show. And this woman is a monkey mom. She loves monkeys. I have a capuchin who's trained to be my ears in my home.
Oh.
The alarms go off. She wakes me up, things like that. Well, I have a capuchin. She's a small one. She's only like that. She's skinny mini. She's little, but she's 10 in a few days.
Wow.
But this woman had a foster child, 13 years old, and sent her to Texas in exchange for a freaking spider monkey. Is that not crazy?
As a 13-year-old girl, her biological daughter.
No, she was a foster mom.
Okay.
She has 1 biological. Let me go back.
Okay.
Sorry. The foster daughter, the biological daughter's 50 years old.
Okay.
Okay.
Gotcha.
But she fostered over 200 children. And she traded a 13-year-old girl for a spider monkey. And both living conditions were horrendous. This girl was made to clean and to care for these monkeys in the home that she was sent to, which was something that should have never happened. You don't ever have a child like that with capuchins. Spider monkeys in general. Monkeys are very hierarchical, and they man, if you're not recognized as a part of the clan, they will rip you a new one. So, this it's just crazy.
When did this happen?
I'm looking for the dates. Let's see, between September 22nd, September 22 to January 25. She was arrested in January. She was also found out to be abusing all of these children.
Wow.
Even the daughter is speaking out against the abuse. And it is insane what we have heard so far. I've got all these documents up I'm trying to pull. But the thing is that she put this 13-year-old girl on a plane by herself, never flown nothing before a day in her life, and shipped her to Texas.
So how did the foster mom then get a hold of the monkey? Did they also put the monkey on a plane?
They never got the monkey. What happened was the girl was sent to the person in Texas, and then she, i.e. Deutsch, was going to come to Texas and pick up the monkey. She was going to, and in the ruse of picking up the child. So this was the scheme. She sent the child down there and said that she would come and pick up the child. And when she was going to pick up the child, she wanted the monkey to be there. And she was going to grab the monkey and run and leave the state and dump the child. That is what has been alleged. She was going to abandon the child with this woman.
So they didn't have an agreement between the two of them. I'm going to trade you this girl for this monkey, or they did?
That's in question. That's the whole question. Because the person that had the girl is saying, no, I wasn't going to give her a monkey. I wouldn't give her a monkey for a child. But then you have the woman who actually, sent the girl, is saying, yeah, we did. So Brenda is, it's crazy right now. This is very fluid. It's still very new. So the 2 stories are by Brenda. She was trading the child for the monkey. By the woman, She just said that Brenda sent the girl here without permission, dumped the child on her, who's a foster child. You can't ship them out of state without permission from the state. And the
First of
way they
all,
found out is the girl was not in school and they were looking for her. The school called it in. And then the daughter, I got to slow down. Sorry, Diane. And then the daughter of Brenda was contacted. And she goes, I know exactly where she is. She's in Texas. And they go, what? And there it all goes. And it blew up.
wow.
Insane. Trading a foster child for a monkey. Mind you, my monkey, if you were to purchase it, back when I was gifted, this was a trained, well, she was 10 days old, but I had trainers. We didn't just go buy her. Was 5,000, a 10-day-old. Now there were 10 to 12,000 10-day-old. And if you have them trained like mine, astronomical. But a horrific evil. It is. And the house was filthy and she wasn't taking care of these kids. She would sit down. The daughter said that her mother would be sitting on the couch all day doing nothing, making these kids do everything. Everything.
I have often had very sad feelings for kids in the foster system because unfortunately, I think it is all too common for foster parents to just want to collect money and use these kids as slaves and or abuse them and or traffic them. It's just so sad to me, and I don't know how to fix it.
Well, you can't. And the sad thing is, I was in the foster system until I was 5. I was adopted along with my twin brother, thank God. But what people don't realize is that when you are in the foster system and you turn 18, your 18th birthday is not a celebration. You're giving like a few dollars, 100 or less, depending on where you are, what state you're in, and you are free to go. Here's your suitcase. This is what you get. This is what the money you get. Bye. See you later. You're on your own. There's no transition. And my sister, who passed last November, was wanting, before her cancer returned, they were working on starting they were looking at buying property and starting a place where they would have transition homes where they could have a pet, they could have, if they have, whatever, they can move in. They teach them how to manage money. They get a job. They educate what they don't have. I mean, get them ready for the world. Most of the time, they're just released and they become prey of predators, especially in the trafficking and industry.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is a lot of these kids, I mean, there was a movie about a woman who was a social worker, and it was taken from a real story. And the moment these kids turned 18, she goes, okay, I want you to go with these people. They have a house for you. They're going to help you. And then they turn out being trafficked.
Yeah.
It's horrible. People don't understand it.
Yeah.
Oh, what's this one? What's this case?
Sarah was talking about the case of Dakota Collins. That's not one that I know either, but apparently it's pretty disturbing.
Well, part of the problem I have is viewers don't want to watch some of that, but the other thing is you can't monetize.
Right.
And I got dinged a lot already just because I said ST. That goes.
Yeah.
But saddest cases I've heard about proper true crime haunting. I'm trying to pull up what happened, but wow. So what do you think about the monkey case? Is that something you would look at?
Yeah, definitely, because it sort of has, it has ties to, to ST, any kind of trafficking of children. It's horrific, obviously, and I think it's rampant in the foster system, unfortunately. But I think it'll be interesting. What will be interesting to me will be to hear the testimony or the explanations from each of these women who it sounds like they're trying to throw each other under the bus.
Yeah.
And to find
But I
out if
will tell you. Go ahead.
to find out if either one of them is telling the truth.
Just so I'm not trying to interrupt you, but being deaf and watching the interpreter, it happens. My apologies. I am so sorry.
No worries.
Okay. One thing that is good is the girl that was trafficked is still in Texas, is in a safe home. She's getting all the care she needs. She's getting healthy mentally and physically, and she's very happy in the place that she's at now.
That's good.
They have not extradited her back. Texas is holding the child because of the situation. I don't know if she will go back to the other state. I would not want her to, because in their care, this happened.
Well,
Now, they said that when CPS, we call them Child Protective Services, came to the home of Brenda, and they had over 250 reports of child abuse or not. I was going to go not care for. I was going to speak and sign neglect, and they never once found anything wrong, because most of the time they were not permitted in the house.
I want to say, when you're a foster parent, do they not have to have their homes inspected on a regular basis, or do they just have to pass it one time? And I guess it varies by state, probably.
Well, I had 2 questions for the daughter, and I'm not giving her name for her privacy and protection. 1, that one. 2, aren't they supposed to do oh god, I lost the second question. Oh, how in the world did at one time she had 12 foster kids in that house? How did they not know? Why were they you don't do that. And she said that different they were not looking in the system. They had different social workers dumping children in her home without realizing how many kids were there, because she wouldn't allow them in the home most of the time because of the monkeys. So she would make excuses, meet them in different places. Oh, I'm not at home. I'm over here. Let me pick up the child here. I don't know all the stories, but there was at one point 12 kids in the home at one time. At one time. And the few times they did enter the house, then it was clean. But it didn't stay that way. It was dirty most of the time. And the food situation was bad. It was just an awful situation. And to hear her daughter talk about her mom, despises her mother. She goes, I am her biological daughter, but I am not her daughter. She is not my mama. She's my mother. Same sign for both words. Sorry.
So MB says federal guidelines say monthly visits to any kid in care. Here they had to see their bedrooms each visit. And yeah, that's what it should be.
Didn't happen. Did not happen.
And I understand foster systems are understaffed and overburdened, but these are children we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we have, as a society, such a low priority for children who have no parents to raise them? Shouldn't these be the children that we protect more than any other children? And yet it seems like these are the children that are being completely disenfranchised.
Exactly.
And the foster system is abusive, period. You don't get out of foster care without suffering some kind of abuse. And it's yeah, like I said, it's one of those things I haven't dug into because it feels too big to fix. But I don't know if you saw me get my notebook. When I get my notebook, it's over. I'm writing it down. I'm on this case. I'm covering it.
Well, maybe what we can do is, let me talk to the daughter and see if we can do a joint live so you can interview her. And
Yeah.
then if she feels comfortable, she's very, we understand. And then, you can do, she's comfortable, gets to know you, then she'll do interviews with you. But I know her through the monkey world, and Heike is she makes monkey diaper covers and enrichment toys. But Heike, I've known her since before I got my monkey. She's my go-to monkey person, and she turned me on. Hikki. That's how you spell it, Diane. She turned me on to this case. She begged me to get this case going. She wants it. They want it to go viral. And I think it very well should. But people should not dog the monkey people. There are a lot of us that are very responsible. Mine provides a service to me. There are some people who are crazy. You don't treat monkeys like human babies, but that's not the story. So the story is the trafficking for an animal. And she's a foster mom. And this foster child was removed from the state and dumped. I was like, how?
Have they shared the name of the child?
No.
Okay.
We will not.
Oh, I wanted to make sure. I didn't know if their name was out there. I'm glad it's not.
And if it was, I won't say it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even sharing the name of the daughter unless she's on and she goes by a different name.
Yeah.
She uses something different. But the thing is that this should bring light to the foster care system because it failed them miserably. Over 250 documented calls on this one woman over 20 years. And not one charge, not one thing. I'm like, how in the world can you have that many calls and still be a foster parent? Now, my foster story at 7 months old, along with my twin, my mother, oh, I won't go into it, but she didn't do anything wrong. It was our father. And she went for help. And they told her, look, let us take the twins for 6 months. We'll help you get a job. We'll help you set up a place. They'll stay in this town. You can see them every day. We're going to help you. My father went to jail, biological. And unfortunately, at that time, that judge, at the end of the 6 months, she came back. She was a CNA. She was working at a hospital. She had everything set up. And he said, nope, not giving him back. And he put us in the foster care system for money. He was sentenced and everything back in the 70s, early 70s.
Wow.
But my first foster home, I was satanic ritually abused, both my twin brother and I. And then we were orphan homes, other foster homes. Our last one we were in for almost a year was fabulous, fabulous. I got to meet them as an adult, actually. I got to find my biological parents. They're both deceased now, my grandmother, but also the social worker who saved me because when they pulled me out of that first foster home at 13 months, I only weighed 7 pounds.
Wow.
And I was stunted in growth and weight up until I got pregnant. And then my weight went.
Yeah.
But people have no idea how bad the foster homes can be. Now, back in the 70s. Now, today, it's a lot easier to investigate people, watch them on social media and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, but do you know what, guys? It's okay because now I help people heal from things like that. I've gone through the heal on all of it. The ST, the SR,
SRA,
ST, all of it. And it's horrible, but now I am emergency services chaplain and they call me when they have young women that are just pulled from SA or ST. And I have been honored, not easy, but it's been an honor to walk through those first few days with those young girls and women and old women, people don't realize it ain't just kids.
Right.
So you and I have a lot in common.
We have a lot in common. And I actually want to put you together with Crusha K. Easton, who is the daughter of Kay Woodcock. She is J.J. Vallow's aunt. She has done a huge amount of research into SRA. She's done a whole series on it, and I know she would love to speak with you.
I would love to speak with her because I've never spoke to anybody about it. The interesting thing is, the social worker who's now deceased, because when I met her, she was like 88, 89 years old. And she let me read the file of everything that they know that was done to me that they know. Because the woman ended up speaking, trying to save her butt, and testified against a lot of people. So it was really bad.
But you said they're all in jail now.
They're all, most of them are dead.
Okay.
Or in jail or whatever. But I can speak about it freely now. But the ST, I will speak about it when it's appropriate, but I don't want to glorify it. Diane, you have to go?
No, not yet, but I have a question. Why is there no closed captioning?
Because this is not streamed from
some things get
I don't know why why can't people get captioning on my live anymore, even though I have it set?
I think YouTube doesn't, I think it's a YouTube thing, because I think now you can only close caption on YouTube after the live has aired, and then they do it in reverse.
But the thing is when you run a video from court, you can do that captioning. Right. So Diane, your computer, all computers should have what's called live caption. Go to your search engine on your computer and look for live captioning. Let me do this. I'm going to share my screen real quick. Entire screen. This one, it's going to look weird, but it's okay.
Okay.
Do you see the live captioning up here? I'm moving it.
Yeah.
That's how I see. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing because it's making me dizzy. That is how I see.
Okay.
And so that's, if you're on a PC, go to search and go live caption, turn it on and it'll pop up.
Mac. Hold on.
Try the same. Okay. I'm going to mute you for a minute and now we'll keep going. But I think it's very, very important that we share this information because a lot of people do not know. And yet, if you share this personal information like ST, one, they don't believe it's real. Two, they think you're talking about it just to get more viewers. I mean, you're damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Yes, and I was told for the majority of my life, you were never trafficked. That never happened to you, and it wasn't until the irony of growing up in Mormon culture. It wasn't until one of the male victims spoke up that people went, "Oh, that's terrible that happened." You know, then all of a sudden there was some credibility to it.
Wow.
So
hey guys, go ahead. So
it was real. It happened. And I was gaslit for my entire life to the point where I went to EMDR therapy to process that trauma.
Oh, I've done that. I actually have my own TheraTappers.
Oh, nice. And after the processing was over, I got in a situation where I was gaslit about it yet again. And I had to go back to my therapist and ask him to remind me that it was real, that my symptoms were real, and that, you know, that was when he literally sat me down and said, "Megan, when you walked in here, I was afraid you were not going to survive." But it sucks that I have to still remind myself that was real, that happened. regardless of what other people say. And it is a damned if you do, damned if you don't, because when I first started speaking up against trafficking, when I published my book about healing from all the trauma, was back in 2024-ish, I think. I think it was July of 2024. And I just started doing these little Instagram reels about what trafficking is and, what it entails. And it was just about the same time that Tim Ballard's The Sound of Freedom movie came out. And he basically manufactured these situations. He never actually saved any children. But people were so invested in his story that,
What?
oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I didn't know about any of that.
Yeah. Do you know who Tim Ballard is? The Operation Underground Railroad?
I just pulled up Wikipedia.
Yeah, that's a rabbit hole for another time, but he ran an
Yeah, we need to do more
organization.
of these lives.
Yeah. He ran an organization called Operation Underground Railroad, where he claimed that he was going into foreign countries with former military operatives and saving trafficked children. But what he was actually doing was using this as an opportunity to coerce young females into pretending to be a couple with him so that they could ask for kids, and that's how they were going to sting these traffickers. But what ended up happening is that he ended up creating a situation where there was no child trade, but because he was pretending to ask for it, people who had never been traded were now being traded to create a situation where he could then go and pretend to save kids. So he's got multiple lawsuits against him from these women who he allegedly abused. And he also raised millions and millions, tens of millions of dollars to fight trafficking. But what he was really doing was just traveling to foreign countries to have sex parties. So
That's basic EPAR.
oh yeah. But because
I
because his organization was so big and because he was raising so much money and because there was a national movie about it, they should have called it The Sound of Fraud instead of The Sound of Freedom. Because I was speaking out against trafficking and saying that OUR is taking resources away from organizations that actually are helping children.
yeah.
I got all kinds of hate and comments from people about, if you're speaking out like this, then you must be for trafficking. And I'm like, no, I'm a survivor. Yeah.
Yeah, well, when I speak out about it, all right, I was with a ministry that was about ST, but it was more not ST, but more of oh God, what's the word? It's not ST, but it's taking advantage of women. What's the word I'm looking for? But anyway,
SA?
no, it was oh, I'll remember it in a minute. But the thing was is that it was a good idea. The ministry was a good idea, but it was exploited. Exploitation and trafficked, is that how you say it with an R?
Mhm.
Trafficked
Mhm.
is two different things. Very two
Right.
different things.
Right.
Now you can be exploited and turned into trafficked, but they are two different things. When I shared my story for the first time, she wouldn't let me share it again. And then every time I've shared my story, I've been told I'm a liar. And my family, they believe I willingly did this to myself, the ones that found out about it, and said that I was a I'm a hoe, in my humble opinion, by the way, with the Y between the H and O just to distinguish the difference. But it's one of those things that why are we so quick not to believe? There are people out there that lie about it, yes, but what's the chances of it being a lie?
Well, I will tell you because I've done this research.
Good, educate me.
When a person makes a report of, doesn't matter what type of exploitation it is, the statistics tell us that less than 6% of those reports turn out to be false. And when law enforcement is involved, that number drops to 3%. So this idea of not believing people who come forward needs to end. Because 97% of the time they are correct. Now, I think the cases where people do lie about it get so publicized because I think men are terrified of being accused, and I don't blame them because it does ruin lives. But the statistics show that 97% of them are true reports. So I have a policy of believe all victims, believe all survivors, and then do the research and listen to all the stories.
There is, sometimes when someone reports something, there may be a part of it that may not be true because they're doing it to protect themselves.
Right.
But the root and the core, there's truth most of the time. Oh, that's not what I wanted to happen. Sorry, hold on. Everybody who liked, you're going to have to do it again. It caught it. Okay. My liked thing just quirked out on me. Just so you know, we are 290, we're 2,966. Come on, guys. We'd love to get to 3,000. We've been stuck. We'd love to get, and thank you so much for helping us.
Of course, we just need
you didn't know that when you
more.
accepted to do this.
No, I did not, but I'm so happy to bring my audience to you because obviously we have a lot to talk about.
We have a lot to share. One of the things about ST that most people don't realize is the age. Everybody focuses on the children because it is horrible. But there's a part of the world that people don't realize is that if you are an elderly woman with no familiar connections, and a lot of times near homeless or homeless, they will kidnap them into it as well. Because believe it or not, that's wanted. But the other thing is that people don't realize, which I experienced, was they make them house moms. And they make them take care of the girls, clean them up, get them back out, manage the homes, make them perform sometimes. But people don't realize this could be your grandmother. It's not just your child. It's not just your sister, your daughter. It could be anyone. It could be you and I.
Yeah.
We have no idea. Yeah. What does it say? So it's the same as everything. Bad one always gets the attention. Yep. They do. They really do. I'm trying to see. I have not been able to catch as many comments as I normally do, but I apologize. Acronyms for the real words is kind of hard to understand. I don't understand why we can't say the real words if we're doing it in this context.
Right. So what I have found, I've tried to have a little bit of a balance on my channel. I know that in the first 10 minutes, it's especially important not to use those trigger words. But I've also found that when you're monetized, if you go into your settings to give yourself a rating, you can do the rating for sensitive events. And if you click the first one that says you're talking about sensitive events that may be disturbing in a non-demeaning or non-dismissive way. And if you click that, it makes you safe for ads. And also it gives you a little bit more leeway as far as what you can say after the first 10 minutes. So we do have to be careful. Yeah, we do have to be careful because I don't know about for you, but for me, this is my livelihood. And so I don't want to upset the platform. But at the same time, let's be reasonable. And I actually went and relabeled my channel as a news and information channel because that gives me a little bit more leeway than,
Oh, really?
just being under people and blogs or whatever else.
You can go and relabel yourself a news and media channel?
Yeah, so it's in the settings, and I can't remember exactly where. Um, it might be. Let me look and see. Channel.
I'm in my back office right now. See, what's hard about streaming live, if you put on there monetize before you go live or after the live, you can go back and change it,
Yes,
but before you can't.
right. Um,
Yeah, that's true.
Add categories.
But but we'll get together sometime if you don't mind, and you can walk me through a little bit of this because I've had
Yeah, sure.
everything is self-taught. I've had a few. RA was fabulous with the technology. By the way, those who were just joining, hey, this is what my office looks like. People always like to know what you got. Um, so yeah, we got the
Yeah,
sound.
I definitely my studio is nowhere near that fancy. I have my little laptop and I have a microphone sitting in front of me. I have a fancy arm, but I can't get it attached anywhere that makes sense. And I have a camera and I have a light and that's it. So I've got 4
Well,
less screens than you. I don't have a switcher.
Well, but my thing is that I also have interpreting that I'm trying to get more interpreters and I need to be able to bounce things back and forth. I don't know why my thing isn't staying on. I still have a long way to go. I got to learn how to use this switcher. I don't know much about it. It's a big learning curve,
Yeah.
but I'm seriously jelly of your soundboard. Oh, which one? That one? The Rodecaster? And I have other sounds that are not working right now. I don't know why. Of course, this is the switcher keyboard. Cell phone. I use this as a monitor sometimes. Let me get the office. My son has a business and I always have the security camera up and running. We had someone walk in sometime that shouldn't have been. So for security reasons, that's the way we roll.
Yeah.
But it's cool. It's cool. I went into this and I'm happy to say debt free. Um, so but it's a huge learning curve. When I started this, I knew actually nothing. And within the first 6 months, every day I cried.
I too had a really difficult learning curve and I'm still it's still happening. I almost never have a show, especially a live show, without some kind of
Glitch.
technological hitch of some kind. And I think the worst one though was when I recorded a 2-hour episode that was very emotionally charged for me, and then realized that when I had shared some video clips, um, the sound was echoing for some reason. And I think I figured out the reason why, but then I had to go and re-record the entire episode, and it was just so daunting. It's like, I don't wanna do this again.
So should I be going back over to Jail Widow? It's a different channel and start building that, or should I just put it as a sub of this one? Just put a just folder. I
So
mean,
there's a way that you could actually stream to both channels at the same time if you
right.
wanted to. Um, and then there's a way that you can what I would do if I were you, and this is my unprofessional, somewhat educated opinion from other YouTubers I've talked to. If you make one channel a channel for shorts only and have all of those shorts link to your main channel, that's a good way to build an audience.
All right. Let's say that again. One channel,
Have one
shorts,
channel that's shorts only, yeah. And
and
then
link it to the main.
on the short, you have to have, the URL for your main channel so that when people click it, it will take them to your
But my
main
thing,
channel.
I would love. I know you are a very busy woman, but I think it'd be great for us to have some one-on-one time.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
Speaking on closed captioning. There's some channels that use it on live stream. It really useful for me. I have other people living in my says, I understand, but I have clicked on closed captioning and it's not working. How are they getting it on their YouTube live? I don't know. In the past, I had captioning. But if I'm on and I have court TV, I have their captioning. It's fine.
Right.
But when I do two people like this, it's just a live without any video or videos showing. I don't have captioning and I don't know why. And I can't fix that. And I've tried.
I'm
But on
curious.
your TV or your computer, you have what's called live captioning. Go down to your search bar, type in live captioning, and it will pop up. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I wonder if you did your live in the YouTube studio instead of in StreamYard, if it would do it that way.
I tried that.
Mm.
Oh, they must be paying extra.
AdaKay, I'm going to the bathroom.
Yeah. We call it comfort break around here. I need to educate her. Yeah. Yeah, we're all about education. So where are you going now? What cases are you going to be following? What's next? By the way, talk about your books. I just bought them on Amazon yesterday.
Oh, thank you.
And I don't normally read because of dyslexia. I hate reading and I have so much with college, but I was so interested in you. I bought your books.
Yeah. So the first book is, I'm in the process of revising it actually, because when I wrote it, I was still recovering from trauma and I was, I just wanted to get my story out there because the other women in my therapy group were not healing successfully. And I kept seeing them kind of go through the same cycles all the time. And I just got so discouraged because I thought, am I ever going to heal? Am I ever going to get better? And so I wanted to write a book to let people know that it's possible to go through trauma like this and to heal and to move on and have a happy life. So that's my first book. It does not mention Lori at all. It's nothing to do with her. It's called I Walked Through Fire to Get Here. It's been an Amazon bestseller twice, but I'm in the process of revising it and getting it republished. And then the other book was sort of just, it was an exercise that I did for a self-publishing course to see if you could get a book compiled and published within a week. And it is called 100 Ways to Practice Self-Care. And it's basically for people who are beginners to self-care, who previously thought that self-care was selfish, and people who think that self-care is buying yourself a hot fudge sundae, which sometimes it is, but food doesn't have to be the only way that we comfort ourselves. And so it's sort of a journal prompt to give people, to jog people's ideas about ways that they can take care of themselves and prioritize themselves.
Yeah. Do me a favor. I got to have a comfort break. I'm so sorry.
Sure, no problem.
I need to, please keep talking about your books. You've written 2, and I will be back. I'm so sorry, guys. In a hot second. Thank you so much for holding it. I'll be right.
Of course. I can actually I can read a little bit from my book and just give you a little preview, because this is the part that is like a free preview on Amazon. So this is chapter 1, the beginning of my book. I walked through fire to get here. Sorry, there it is. I had just turned 7 when my family moved from sunny Louisiana to the frozen tundra of South Dakota. My baby sister was 1, and Halloween came and went as we stayed in a little 1-story Holiday Inn on the outskirts of town. The early November sky issued its tiny flakes of first snow on the day we ventured to the shopping mall to buy things we had never seen: moon boots, snow pants with suspenders, puffy coats, and mittens inside which our fingers couldn't move. On the first day in the new house, we played a game. How many steps? How many windows? How many exits? How will you get out how will you get out if there's a fire in this room, in that room, in your room? My overactive imagination went wild with scenarios of burning and smoke and me rescuing my baby sister who shared my room. There were two skinny elm trees in the backyard, and my father told me in about 5 years they would be good for climbing, which was entirely too long for me to wait. The yard to the north had a fence, but our yard and the yard to the south were open, which, despite the obstacles of gardens and landscaping, made an ideal length of field for football and soccer, both of which we played in abundance with various neighbor kids. I basically went through all of these memories that I had of my home in South Dakota, but I'll skip to kind of the end part of the cliffhanger. I don't remember when my mom started her new job, but she left for work even earlier than we left for school, so she sent us one street over to a neighbor babysitter, and we waited for the bus there. I didn't mind much because they had something I knew I would never see at my house, HBO. Of course, there wasn't anything very exciting programmed at that hour of the morning. Usually it was either Fraggle Rock or The Never-Ending Story, both of which were better than the farm report and commercials about swine rhinitis, which is all we got at my house at that hour. I remember the babysitter's name was Lynn because I read it over and over on her coffee cup, which was always in her hand. She had a severe underbite and prominent lower teeth. She had short, dark hair that stood up in the back. She was heavy-set. They had a daughter a bit younger than me, whose name I also remember because I watched her arduously spell it out in crayon several times. I watched how she held the crayon, and I marveled at her cutting cleanly through thick paper with a special pair of scissors which had been modified to accommodate the malformed thumb on her right hand. There was another daughter, much older than me, but I don't remember how old. It was hard to tell because she was severely disabled, and we didn't see her much, only when her mother would transfer her from her special wheelchair to a beanbag on the floor in front of the TV. I remember the dad's name was Jim. I remember the walking cast on his right leg and the rosacea all over his face. He had an underbite too. He had a large belly, and he often wore suspenders to hold up his pants. I remember standing outside the basement door, and that's when my mind went blank. How is it that I could remember so many details about my life in that place and remember nothing that happened behind the basement door? I dreamed about the door all the time. In my dream, I knew what was behind the door, but when I woke, I could never remember what it was, and in my dream, I could never open it.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. I had to put special ears on. I had a little talking about glitches, hearing aids, Bluetoothing to everything is also very glitchy. And I
Yeah.
have to do the in the ear monitors that I've had for over 10 years. Or I need to get new ones, but at 5,000 pop, I'm not. Oh, just saying. That is amazing. See, I admire people who can write books. I'm dyslexic as hell. I've been told I have multiple books in me and to write a book, but I don't have the first clue on how to do it. So I really admire anybody who can write a book. I'm jealous. I would love to find a ghostwriter. That would be awesome. But wow, that's impactful. By the way, I could hear that the whole time until I sat down and my
Oh,
ears
good.
went gone. So beautifully written, beautifully
Thank you.
written. You impress me. You are an amazing woman. I really I don't understand a society that when you come across women like you, and I'm going to say me, survivors,
Mhm.
and why they want to hold us down so much. And I think part of it is because one of the things is I spoke my testimony. I call it a testimony once. If you're in the Christian world, you know what that is. Um, in front of a group of women, and it was and they all just walked out quietly, and I was like, "Oh my god, what did I do wrong?" And a lady said, "It was so impactful, it was so hard to hear, but what was hard about it is we all know you, and we've known you for 10 years and had no idea you went through that, and
Yeah.
now we're walking around like." And, it's hard to accept it when they say it's easier to hear it from somebody they don't know, or hear somebody talk about the story from people as a third person than it is to hear it from the first person. And it is
Right.
so brutal and it is so difficult to absorb. And it is one of those things that you just kind of go, how do I talk to you after this?
Yeah.
And it is true.
Yeah, and I think the thing is it's hard for us to have those difficult
Diane.
conversations
Uh-huh.
because when I tell my story, I become a mirror for people who have survived similar situations, but who have not yet spoken about it for one reason or another. And I think it's hard for people to hear someone speak so openly and so frankly about what happened when they're not able to. And so my heart goes out to those women
Yeah,
because
definitely.
that's obviously not my intention to make other women feel bad that they haven't spoken up. That's absolutely the opposite. My whole intention is to give a voice to other women who haven't yet spoken up and to say you can. You will get through it. Um, and the other part of it is that these stories make a lot of people uncomfortable because they want to pretend that it doesn't exist,
Yep.
that it doesn't happen, especially not to people they know, especially not in my community, not in my house. And I think that's one of the reasons that I got so gaslit that this didn't happen is because admitting that it did happen also means admitting that you contributed to it in some way, even if it was unintentional. And that's a really painful thing for people to absorb.
I think the sad thing is knowing that this could happen to your child or to you or anybody that you know and love, or it could have happened to you. There's some women that say, I don't know how it didn't because I put myself in these bad situations when I was younger, but
Yeah.
because I didn't know better. And I think that's part of where I'm coming from. I want to educate. Mine was what they call the Romeo effect. And you know what that is.
Mhm.
And that's where somebody dates you and then brings you into the system and the trafficking. And my thing was, is unfortunate for me, it was the owner of the trafficking, but fortunate for me because I was his prized jewel. So a lot of things that should have happened didn't happen. The one big thing is he would send people all over the world. He was a he it was huge. And luckily for me, I was his one of his prized at the time. I was 110-pound, green-eyed, red hair, Irish girl, no tattoos, not into the drug scene, very super clean. So we brought a lot, and you know what I mean by this. High money comes in from girls like that. High money, high money.
Yeah.
And so we could go anywhere. We can go to the country club. We can go anywhere. You know, you can't clean up a druggie clean enough to go into places like the state capitals, well, the governor's household, let's just put it that way, or an example place, but you can, someone like me, send anywhere. And so, but yeah, all of these freaks and creeps, yeah, they are freaks and creeps. But the point is that all of us realize that it could be us, and it's a very sad and scary place to be. It's
Yes.
1 second away. Any one of us, even Diane, 1 second away from being in a bad situation, not just ST, anything. You could we are all one decision away from being in prison.
Yeah. That's so true. And the sad part is that there are so many men who are confused about why this is something that we worry about.
Yeah.
Um, but I like the conversations that have been happening lately that I hear where men are listening to more women and asking more questions. I recently saw a panel discussion where it was a panel of women and it was men, asking them questions about their experiences. And one of the women had something really poignant to say. This man said, we live in a safe neighborhood. I don't understand why my wife is always so concerned about these things. And she basically, said with great kindness, I thought, when was the last time that you were walking to your parked car when it was dark outside and you were worried that something might happen to you. And
Yeah.
he said, I've never worried about that. And she said,
Congratulations.
okay, when was the last time that you felt like you had to go through the inventory of your belongings that were on your person to see if you had anything sharp because you were afraid that you were being followed? He said, I've never been afraid that I'm being followed. You know, she said, when was the last time that you pulled your car into the garage and then hit the button for the garage door to go down and then watched it go all the way down to make sure nobody came in after you? It's like, I've never been afraid of that. She said, this is what women deal with on a daily basis. Every single time I'm somewhere alone at night, every single time I walk down a street and it's dark outside. Doesn't matter if the neighborhood is good or not. And luckily, I have a partner who's just incredibly fabulous in like 99% of the ways, because nobody's perfect, but he's darn near close. I was going through a period of time where I just wanted to take very, very long walks alone in the morning. I would get up early at like 5 o'clock in the morning, because it was the only time it was cool enough. And I would go, and I live in a relatively safe part of town. And I would walk through my neighborhood and around to a retail space and back through my neighborhood. And, you know, after a few days of this, that's an incredibly insightful comment, Chelsea. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, Chelsea, I was just like reading that again, and it is true. You know,
She says prison for men is like every day for
and for
women,
women.
worried about you will are them. That's so true.
And the thing is once you've been a victim of it, doesn't matter at what level of it, um, it's the hypervigilance. And for example, I was dating a guy, got engaged, just broke up with him, so I'm raw about that. But um, you know, I always have to sit facing the door. That's part of my PTSD. That's part of my safety thing. And for example, and he wanted to sit facing the door, and so that was an issue. And I was trying to learn to trust him to have my back. Someone who's been through what we've been through, that is very difficult. And I don't think I could ever 100% trust anyone to have my back because they have failed me, those that I did trust time and time again. So, walking down the street, I've had to learn that's just something that I speak on. Women, hold your head up. When you see a man, look at him in the eyes, nod and say,
Yes.
good morning, good
Yes.
afternoon. Make note of who they are, what they're wearing. Make yourself look less of a victim. The moment you go down and you just try to get around them, boom, they got you. You're a victim. So I'm more about at this point in my life to share my story, not to sensationalize it, not to glorify it, but to bring power to women. No matter who you are, you can
Yeah.
overcome this. And whether you want to speak about it or not, that's fine, but you need to get help. You need to deal with the trauma. Healing from the trauma. And that is one thing that I work with women on as well as you do. We have our different ways of doing it, but smile at strangers, make them know. Sarah, you get the crown so far. Yeah, I got but
When I go on walks, or hikes or wherever I am, I always greet each person. I do exactly what you're saying. I make eye contact and I greet them. I either say hello or good morning or hi, because, and one of my daughters is like, Mom, why do you do that? It's so embarrassing. You don't have to talk to every single person you see. And I said, I do it because it humanizes me. So that if something does happen, and I said, especially when I'm on a hike, the people who are coming down the mountain, I'm going up the mountain, because if I get in trouble, if I get hurt or something, those are the people who are going to help me, the ones that I've passed on the trail.
they'll
And if
remember your face.
exactly, if I humanize myself, it's more likely that someone will help me and not hurt me.
Sarah, no, you don't talk too much. And I welcome a lot of communication and I welcome differences of opinions here. Some of you, especially like the Karen Reed on my channel, you can agree to disagree. You can tell us we're wrong. You can tell me I don't agree with you, and that's fine, just as long as you're respectful. This is a very open channel for all, including those with disabilities. It's accessible, and we try our best to do that. Diane will be leaving us shortly. Unfortunately, she has another appointment, but I am up at 2,972. You
We're
guys,
almost there.
come on, help me, guys. Get me to 3,000, please. Please, 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 please. I feel like the pig and the thing going, wee, wee, wee.
If you're from my channel and you haven't subscribed yet to AdaKay, please go over and do that. If you have a second, the link is on my channel. I did a post about it yesterday, so it should be there easy for people to find.
Thank you so much. There's something about 3,000. Once you hit 3,000, something happens, I'm told. I don't know. I would love to be at your level. I would love to have your numbers. I would love to be at your level. I hope to one day be there.
How long, Megan? How long is Megan going to be on?
I don't know. I have a 12. I do have a 12:30 something for another trial that we're covering. But you can be when you come, huh?
The reason I ask is when I finish my appointment, I could come back to her.
If we're live, come back. If
right.
we're not, I'm on the other live. Okay. So I'm just going to tell you what, I'm just going to pull you down and leave you in the back office. All right. Okay. You know how to get my attention. All right. Bye. Okay. I know the deaf person that we were signing for had to leave for a doctor's appointment. They're really good about communicating. So right now we don't have a deaf person watching that I know. If you're deaf and you're still watching, throw the ILY and I'll know to pick up the interpreting and put the black on. It's hot. I have a black t-shirt. I do have my t-shirt. And guys, if you don't know, I do have merch. It is do you have any merch?
I actually just did a pop-up shop. I had a lovely woman-owned company offer to help me with it because I was just too busy to do it myself. But they made a little pop-up for me that's going to be up until June 2nd.
What is that? I've never heard of that.
So what they did is they made me a little temporary web page where people can go and see the merch. And once it'll be open till July 2nd. And then once it closes, they'll produce everything and then ship everything. That way I don't have to have an inventory of things and they take care of all of it.
This is what I have. It's free. You go in, you design your merch, and then it's direct ship. You don't have to have anything. Everything's sent. Yeah. So I'm really happy with the quality. There it is. Yay. Thanks, Megan, for putting that up there.
If you'll let me share my screen, I'll show you what I have because it's kind of fun. This is sort of Valo trial based somewhat, but my podcast is the Midlife Revolution. And so that's why we have a t-shirt that says revolutionary. That's what my little channel members are, revolutionaries.
Oh, are you done? I love it.
That's Judge, Boreski's little, are you done to Lori? And then when she was malingering and pretending to be sicker than she was, she said, well, you could come down to the jail and check on me and see if I'm okay. I said, yeah, I'm going to take a pass on that.
Pass on that.
And then she kept referring to herself as nonchalant. Everybody was calling her nonchalant. So we did a nonchalant shirt, but we did the X in front of it so that we're not like Lori. We actually are chalant. We actually do care.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Hello, Unicorn Rancher. Oh, hello, y'all from Humans. Thank you so much. Yeah, let me get us back. Oh, let me just get us back over here because Diane hopped off. Well, the thing is that one thing I will say is that before I lost my hearing, I walked in fear all the time. I want to switch us because that doesn't work. There we go. Your name is under you. I actually, this walked in fear quite a bit. And, I'm going to put this, no. I got to get it right. Okay. I hate this where it's hanging over, but I'm not going to worry about it. I was a fear bucket. Everything scared me. I was a walking bag of nerves and it was a nightmare. And, I will tell you, walking through what I call inner healing process or the healing process through your trauma and making that choice was the best thing I ever did. It was scary as hell, y'all. But when you choose to take the steps to walk through the process, you slowly start gaining that inner power, regaining the inner power, and it was scary. I still struggle with it a little bit because what's happened now is I walk through that process and now I go deaf.
Yeah.
So I can't hear people coming up behind me. I don't hear people talking behind me. I had a service dog. He died. I mean, she died. I only had her 2 years and she died this past March unexpectedly, just
Mm.
dropped dead. It was her heart. It was the most traumatizing thing I think I've been through in years. And um, I did CPR the whole 9 yards, and, I'm
Mm.
going through the process again. On the 27th, I go start the process again to get another dog. I have to go through orientation again, but the dog is outside, the monkey's in the home. But when you go through what we did and then lose one of your senses, like your hearing, the
Yeah.
trauma, it was like all of a sudden all this stuff started coming up again, and I was like, "Oh my gosh." The fear of being in the parking lot without my dog is one of my biggest fears because I can't hear the cars, I can't hear the people, and, then you sit here and, there's just this constant underlying, this room is the only place I feel safe, really, in all honesty. I became a licensed, lead shooter carrier for years. I've been it for years. I'm now carrying all the time. I don't like having to live this way. And when I had my dog, it was great because the dog turned its head. I felt it through the leash. I mean, it was great. And she would protect me. And when you lose that, I didn't know how much I depended on her and how much safeness and safety I felt having her and the confidence. I mean, I don't know about you, but for me, I didn't travel alone. I didn't like going anywhere alone, even to Walmart alone. A Hellmart is what we call it. And then when I got her, it opened up the world to me. I had her a few months and I was traveled to Washington, DC by myself to a conference. And I went to Florida. I went to Tennessee for 2.5, 3 weeks with my daughter. I could go anywhere because I had her.
Mhm.
And I did not know how much healing that brought in the trafficking world and all the other parts of facets of my life that I needed healing by
Yeah.
having her.
Yeah.
And so, it's amazing. You never know what's gonna bring healing to you.
Yeah.
But
So you can't take your monkey out in public?
no, because the monkeys are, innate to very skittish animals. They go straight up when they get scared, so
Yeah.
even though she's on a leash, if she gets scared, she goes on top of my head.
Yeah.
But in the home, she's great. Absolutely fabulous in the home. Love having her in the home. She sleeps with me. She, taps me when the alarm goes off, and someone's at the door, she jumps. So it's stuff like that. So it's simply, it is amazing, but out in public, oh my gosh, we're at, I need 14 more 14 more subs, please. Please, 14 more subs, please.
Yeah, I'll just say again, if you're just joining us, especially if you're just joining from my channel, if you would go over, please, and subscribe to AdaKay. She is 14 away from 3,000. Let's get her up there today.
Yay. But I will tell you that it and I don't take this the wrong way. I am sorry for what you went through. It
Thank
breaks
you.
my heart. I don't know any of the details. I don't need to know the details. My mind knows a lot of it.
Yeah.
But I want to cry because there's finally somebody that knows what I've gone through or has an idea that I can talk to, that
Right.
understands, that is not going to sit there and say, "Oh, you're making that up." Um, so
Yeah.
maybe this is time for me to start that book. Maybe this is time for me to start talking about it a little bit more and
Yeah.
sharing a little more and not worry about what anybody else has to say. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't want people to think I'm bringing it up when I do bring it up every once in a while. We're 11 away. I do bring it up every once in a while because I feel the need, but understand that they want us. The perpetrators want us to stay silent. They love
Yes.
the silence. That is what they count on.
Yes.
I wasn't supposed to survive. I don't know how you got out. I'll tell you how I got out. what people don't realize is FBI, ICE, and police and sheriffs and all that, they do these stings. And they came into the home as a client. And when they got me alone in the room, they go, by the way, you're under arrest. And I said, no, 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 no. And by the way, they won't believe a white woman as quickly as they will believe someone of color. I'll be honest about that.
Yeah.
And I showed them my wrist, and you could see the burns and from the handcuffs. I kicked out the potty pot that was under the bed, and I told him, I'm here against my will. And he goes, really? I'm not, it was kind of, and I said, and he talked and he goes, okay, I'll be back. Don't say a word. He came back a week later, and I gave them, it was my home. They took over my home. I don't know if you know about that. Sometimes if you have I had a 2-bedroom apartment, they will take over your home. It will take you, and they move their hub around so they're harder to find. Back then, and this is 20 odd years ago, okay?
Yeah.
Before we had the internet like we do now. And they moved around a lot, and I said, do whatever you want, bug what you want. And then he goes, okay, so put a sock in your window when y'all are leaving, so we know you're gone. So I put a sock in my window, and they came in and they did everything they had to do. And in the end, he said that, okay, when we're ready to storm in, if you see this chalk laying outside your window on the ledge, because I had a door right near my window on the back, that's us. The kid chalk, this big, chunky. He laid a brand
Sidewalk
new
chalk.
one, and he gave me the color. He goes, what's your favorite color? And I said pink, so it was a pink one. And he goes, you have 3 to 5 minutes to get in there and handcuff yourself to the bed. That way the people know that are coming in that you are who you are. And
Wow.
that's what happened. And, of course, they arrested all of us, but they separated me. Oh, thank you. They separated me. Everybody got separated, and you know how they do all that. And I turned witness, and they all went to jail. But testified 18. We are 3 away. Oh my God. We did, we testified, did the whole 9 yards. And it's not easy, and it's scary.
Yeah.
But, I don't know where that guy is anymore. I called him my Michael, angel, archangel. He saved my life because he believed this white girl. And I don't know if you realize that or not, that,
Oh, yeah.
they don't, if you're a white girl, you're booked as a prostitute. I
Mhm.
don't know if that's a bad word or not, but you're booked as an institute.
Mhm.
And then if you're lucky, you can find someone to believe you.
Yeah, so
I love
one of my channel people is asking, "Who is AdaKay?" And, we can't just wrap it up concisely. You'll have to go back and watch, but she is a fellow survivor, and we've been talking a couple true crime cases and found out that we actually just have so, so much in common. And, I've just been grateful to be here today. I wanted to wait to leave until we got you up to 3,000, because I actually have an appointment
3
as
away.
well.
Yeah,
But we're 3
let
away.
me check. 3 away. Come on, 3 more people. 2 away. 2 away. Come on, 2 of you. 2 people come and subscribe, and I'll let her go. Well, I wanna say, I never thought this would lead me to this kind of connection. We've been trying to get this together for a while.
Yes, yes, and
Um,
it's completely 100% my fault because going back and forth, traveling for the trial and wedding and grandbaby, and finally, here we are together.
Together, we got 1 away. Come on, 1 away from 3,000. But do you know what will happen? I'll hit 3,000, and YouTube will take 20 or 30 of them.
Oh,
They do that. They do
I
that.
didn't know that, no.
If you have a
Why do
big
they
chunk
do?
drop, because they wanna make, when you have a big growth, a big spurt, like 20, 50, 30, whatever, they will take a percentage of those away and make sure that they're not bought.
Mm, interesting.
I
So
have
that's
every time.
why sometimes you get unsubscribed from a channel and you didn't realize it? That is just
Yep.
weird. Yay, did we do it?
We did it. Thank you so very much. Oh
Yay.
my gosh, you were so amazing. Oh, you were amazing. We did it. We did it.
Congratulations,
Hey, we
AdaKay,
did
you
it.
deserve
Thank you
it.
so much.
I'm
Well,
so glad I was here for that.
I am too. Look, I really hope this is a beginning of a good friendship.
I
So
hope
I'd
so
love
too.
to chat outside of this.
Yeah.
Everybody, all of my people, go sub to her. Even though she's got how many?
I
40,000? I don't know how many you got.
I no, I think I have 23,000.
But still, y'all, all of y'all go subs to her. I will continue to get you out there. Please follow that case if you want to have the what I call it, the what are we calling it? The crazy monkey lady case? I don't know. Follow that case. If you would like to have her daughter on, I will get us connected. We'll have a quiet
Yes.
we'll have a private chat and then we'll get her on your channel because this woman has so much information. I can't even regurgitate enough. For all of y'all who don't know, we will how do I put this? We are gonna be following a crazy case. That's all I can say. I mean, it's crazy. It's about a woman who knew people hopping on. It's a woman who was a foster mom who traded a foster daughter for a monkey and sent her out of state to get that monkey. Instantly crazy. But with that, I wanna say, Megan, you are a blessing. You are an inspiration. I've been watching since I connected with you in via email. I've been watching your stuff privately. I've cried. I've laughed. You've given me courage. I want to be you one day. I want
Oh,
to have the ability to have that courage to just say, "Hey, guess what? This is what it is." But anyway, thank you again for joining all of your followers. Thank you so much for getting me over the 3,304. Yay! Thank you so much for getting me over that mark.
of
That is a
course.
huge triumph for me. And y'all go and bless her, buy her books, buy her merch, so we can get the word out there. That is what's important. We need to save as many women as we can. And there, I got to be honest, Meg, I don't know if you know this, but we are the 0.001% of the survivors. Normally, they don't live past 3 to 5 years
Right.
due to whatever drug abuse, self-unaliving, medical conditions, things that happen to them in the process. So we are very rare. Am I not
Yeah.
right?
Yes, we are, and that's one of the reasons that I wrote my book is because the odds are not in our favor. The statistics do not favor people who have been in our situation, surviving, let alone thriving and going on to lead happy and successful lives. And so I just want I want to always put that message out there that if you've been through any kind of trauma or abuse in your life, it is possible to heal. It is possible to find happiness, and it's possible to then go on and have a beautiful and meaningful life. You won't feel this way forever.
It's work, but it's
Yeah.
worth it. Here's what I say. Amen to that, but you are worth it. If you're watching right now and you are a survivor of any of that stuff, no matter what, and you're scared, it's hard, but it is worth it. You are worth it. You are valuable. You are loved. To find somebody that will help you. If you need to reach out to us, we're here. We'll guide you in the right direction. We can't do it for you, but we can support you in it. Thank you, everybody. I'm Megan. I'm going to say goodbye to you real quick. Just can you
Sure.
got an appointment? Don't
I
cut
do.
off yet.
Okay.
But I'm going to let you go just real quickly, and then I'm going to end the live. Everybody, thank you so much for joining. You guys are simply the best. Simply the best. Anyway, that's one of my favorite phrases. You are simply the best. And we thank you so much for helping us get over 3,000. And I look forward to seeing all you new subs in our trials. But once again, may you be blessed. May you be safe and be an encouragement to somebody today. Smile and say hello to somebody today who's down and out. You never know, it may be you and you need it. But thanks again for joining. We're going to go live for a trial in a minute. And if y'all go over and bless Megan and visit her webpage and get her book. Until next time, I'll see you later. Thank you so much for joining me. Thanks for watching. Please comment, like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. I hope you have an awesome day. Till next time, take care.